Hi, good evening. So good to see you all here. For me, it's Friday night. I know sometimes one feels that there's better things to do on a Friday night. This, for me, a beautiful, slow, restorative yoga class is probably one of the most amazing plans one could have to wind down from the week. So, join me in the next hour, and we're going to go real slow. We're going to rejuvenate, revitalize, and completely relax from the inside out. We're going to start seated on our mats. So you can see I have some props on my mat here. If you have a couch cushion or even folded blankets or towels, um, have those around. I have a bolster there. I also have a cushion to sit on. I have blocks in the strap, a blanket in case it gets chilly. Yeah, just anything you feel like could make your practice more comfortable, more cozy, and more relaxing. In our restorative yoga class, we really want to support the body in poses so that the nervous system can sigh with relief. Doesn't that sound good? All right, I'm going to make my way to my mat and start seated here. So seated for you might be cross-legged. It might be on your knees with something folded in between your knee joint there to open up that space. You could be seated on a cushion. That's always nice to bring the hips higher than the knees if you are cross-legged, or on a block or something if you are seated on your knees. But wherever you choose to sit, make sure that it's a place where your spine can be tall, where you can feel those natural curves of the spine. So sit bones plug down into the earth. The pelvis is in a neutral position. Then we feel the lumbar spine cave in. We feel the thoracic spine start to come out like a C shape. And then there's another little curve in your cervical spine or your neck. And then the head, the top of the head reaches up to the sky. Arms are loose, and they can take any spot that feels right for you right now. Let's close our eyes. We start to come into our body. Wherever you're coming from right now, often there's a sense of buzzing, of activity. There still may be things on your mind. There may still be leftover feelings in the heart. There may be movement in the body. And we take all of this and we start to settle. How do we do that? By taking the focus to something consistent, to something physical or tangible in the body. So that might be your breath. That might be the feeling, the sensation of air on your skin. That might be the beating of your heart. Sounds, maybe even mantras within your head. The light of the room, or maybe even an image, candle flickering, waves crashing. As you settle into your body, you feel a little more at home. Bring attention to your base. And its connection with the earth. And then just a slow scan on the way up. Bringing awareness, bringing life into your pelvis, your abdomen. Your rib cage. Back of your shoulders, the front of your chest. The arms, wrists and hands. Your neck, your ears, your face, on top of your head. We set the intention this class to meet our bodies where they're at, even more so than usual. Meet your body by giving it support where it needs to. Meet your body by allowing it to be as close to the earth as possible. Meet your body by taking it slow and really, really deeply listening to its cues. If there's any pain, pinching, shooting pain, burning, tingling or numbness in the extremities, you come out and reset. You find a place that allows your body to sigh. Slowly open the eyes. And we'll just do a few neck and shoulder stretches here. So from that tall seat, bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then maybe the left arm even reaches out to your left, coming onto the fingertips. Feel that line from the fingertips up towards the top of the ear. And soften. And then slowly draw the chin down towards your chest, forming a semicircle. Hold the chin there. From that grounded place of the sit bones, become aware of the line from the sit bones all the way up the back of the neck to the base of the skull. Let the shoulders sigh away from the ears. And notice how that can intensify the stretch. Then back up to center, and then to the other side, left ear to the left shoulder. And perhaps that right hand reaches out to the side, fingertips reaching to the right. And as you settle here, feel the length from the fingertip up through the arm, the shoulder, the neck, towards the top of that right ear. And then we slowly draw the chin down again in the semicircle towards the chest. This time, if you want to increase it a little bit, you can always take the fingertips at the back of the skull and draw the head up and away. And then come all the way back up. Shake it out a little bit. Left fingertips come to the left again. This time the right hand comes behind the base of the skull. And as if you're kind of lifting that head up, tractioning the neck, you'll draw that elbow up. You may even stay here. Maybe you start to bend the left elbow as you lean to the left. Maybe that elbow spins up a little bit more. And then from that right hip all the way up to that right elbow, we feel that line. Just breathe into it. If the arm gets uncomfortable here, you could reach up or over, or continue to support the back of the head. And then come all the way up. Release that right hand. Bring the left hand behind the back of the head. Lift the head up and out of the neck. Open that elbow up to the sky and maybe start to bend the right elbow. See if you can maintain an open heart. And send the breath to any pulls, any knots along that line of stretch. And then all the way up. This time we're going to take the fingertips in front of us. See if you can anchor that pelvis down behind you and just take a walk out on the fingertips, letting the head and neck go. Now, you could stay here if you do have any props nearby. There's lots of ways that you could make this supportive. So taking blocks, bringing a cushion in towards you so that you have something to rest your head on. And then melting. Let the shoulders drop away from your ears. If you do have a prop, you can always melt totally into it, letting go of the arms. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. If the head is not comfortable down, and turn it to the side. And then slowly make your way up from that forward fold. We're going to bring our legs out in front of us in a V shape. So you could still be sitting on your blanket or cushion. Make sure the legs are at a V that doesn't feel strenuous, so your knees can comfortably face upwards. Your toes don't have to be activated. And this may be where you sit, just letting those thighs melt towards the earth. You might always have the hands behind you for support, or once again, we could take ourselves for a walk forward. So any pillows, anything you might need to catch you as you come down can come between the legs, and we take ourselves for a walk forward. Let the head and the neck go wherever needed, either straight forward or you can always turn it to one side again. Feel that back line of the body now from the spine all the way down through the sit bones and into both legs. And then we've also got the inner line of the leg. Getting a nice, gentle stretch. We're just bringing life, bringing sensation, bringing awareness back into these areas. Noticing the sensations, especially as we hold the poses. Noticing the thoughts that come up, the feelings that come up. And just noting. Our bodies move through life, taking on not only stress, but they are subject to all of our thoughts. They take on and store emotions for us. They help us move through these things as well. They help us act and emote. But no wonder A little bit of activation can bring up a realm of mysterious things. And slowly make your way back up from there. We're going to bring one heel in towards the pelvis, so creating a nice base here. I actually even need a little bit of a prop underneath that knee because of the height of my cushion here. So anything goes here, whatever your body's asking for, we say, okay, let's give it a try. Then we're going to come sideways down that leg. It doesn't have to be very far. Your elbow can rest on your thigh. The other hand can stay at the hip there, getting a nice stretch through the back of that left hip. Or it can come behind the back of the head again, elbow facing forward this time, just supporting the head from behind. Or perhaps it wants to come overhead. The head and neck are neutral, so move them around a little bit and then find a place where they either hang or you can support. And here we're just feeling that long line from hip to fingertips, all the way up the side body again, a little bit on the back body as well. Notice what position makes you sigh in relief. And then we come all the way up and switch sides. Extend that left leg, bend the right heel in towards the pelvis. Find any cushioning that you need. And then draw a line down that left leg. Find a place for the left elbow. We could stay right here, wiggling the head, figuring out where is comfortable, maybe even catching it with your hand. And then right arm can come behind the back of the head so you can lean back into that hand or reaching over. I do find that the hand behind the head allows me to keep my shoulder on my back, and it's not straining to hold up my arm away from gravity, and so sighs in relief a little. And I'm still getting that nice long stretch from hip all the way up through the side body and partially on the back body, even up into the armpit without having to distract myself with that heavy arm. And come all the way back up. And shake these legs out a little bit. We're going to bring the feet towards each other in Baddha Konasana. So the heels, you decide how close or far away from the pelvis they are. And here, if the thighs are feeling unsupported, again, you could always put cushions or blocks underneath to catch them so that they feel a little bit safer, that they don't feel like they're just suspending there, being pulled down by gravity. Depends. Sometimes that feels nice too. Take a hold of the ankles and sit tall. This may be where you stay. Softening the knees down. Perhaps you lean forward, letting the head and neck go. You may even have, again, something to catch you. So here a little more emphasis on the inner line of the thighs. You send breath. Bring softness. And then if you're folded forward, you get that nice roundedness up the back body. Widening the spaces between the ribs. Taking some strain off of the intervertebral discs between the vertebrae. And then you slowly come up out of that. You can remove those blocks or whatever props you had. For this, I'm going to come off my cushion just so that I have a little bit more room. I'm coming into almost looks like it's a deer pose. So both knees are bent to 90 degrees. And then the left foot meets the right knee and the right foot comes out behind. This right hip is likely off the floor a little, that's okay. And then I'm going to start to walk myself over that left leg. Again, I want something to catch me. So either here, I might even have a block for under my forehead, or you can just let gravity draw you down. And then you find the right spot. You'll know you're in it if you start to feel some sensation in the outer left hip, in that rotation that's happening at the hip joint there. And if you can melt further as the pose softens into your body. You keep coming back to something tangible, something we can sense, to gently draw our focus to as we hold these poses. The mind wants to run, sometimes even the body wants to run. And we just keep coming back, time and again. Slowly press your way up. And then we'll bring the knees up. Maybe even give them a few windshield wipers. And come to the other side. Pigeon deer pose. So right leg is bent to 90, right foot meets the left knee, left leg is bent to 90, left hip is coming off the ground slightly. You may notice the rotation in either hip is a little different. We say, oh, I notice you. I see that. And let it go. And then we come down over that right leg, finding the position that feels in line with what our body needs. This time we feel the sensation in the outer right hip, down that right leg, that rotation at the joint. Feel the connective tissue that's getting a slight pull in this position. Again, you may be able to melt more into the pose as you hold it. And then we slowly press our way up and come back to center. Nice. So we're going to make our way down to our side. You have a few options here. I will be doing it with my bolster or your cushion. You can come all the way down here as well onto the floor. You could have something under your head and neck, or just use your arm. If you do have a cushion that's long enough to support your body, you could also have that underneath you. And just right up into the hip there. Legs don't have to be stacked exactly, both knees bent. Find that stable base and just melt here for a moment. Now we're going to take that top arm and bring it out in front of us. And then just start to make some circles, slow, easy circles around the body. Tracing probably 1/3 of it on the earth. And then go in the other direction. And then bring it back to center and just let it rest. Now you're going to press your body up, either off your cushion or off the floor, and turn your upper body towards the floor. Now, if you were on the floor, you could come down, making a little diamond shape for your forehead. So you're in a very easy open twist here. You could always bring a cushion just under your forehead or turn your head to one side or the other, which is a little more challenging. Or you could have the entire cushion there again to catch your fall. And again, turn the head to one side with the chest facing down. Have the forehead melted there, or turn to the other side for a full spinal twist and melt there. So it's a nice gentle twist. It starts at the hips, at the pelvis, and winds its way up along the floor or your cushion towards the head and the neck. Keep breathing. And then slowly press yourself back up and make your way onto your other side. So either lying on the floor or on a cushion, coming onto the other hip, lying on your arm or a pillow. And here again, find your stable base. Adjust yourself until you're comfortable. And melt into the earth. And then we'll take that top arm out in front and start our circles. Just slow, exploring that joint. Seeing if you can draw a big bubble around yourself. Keep breathing. And then the other direction. And when you're all done, come back to center and rest for a moment. And slowly press yourself up. Turn your torso towards the floor or your cushion and lay yourself back down. So again, either all the way down to the floor, head on a pillow, or forehead head on, or you're looking the other way, or you have that entire cushion to catch your fall, heart facing as directly down as possible, and then you decide which direction your head turns. And we melt here again, letting go. Take a look at any resistance, any holding you're doing. Most of it will always be a form of protection. A knee-jerk reaction to a little bit of lack of trust or fear. And you can recognize that. On recognizing that, can you see where you can let go and still be safe? And then slowly press yourself back up. And you're going to come into a child's pose. So knees apart, toes together, hips back towards the heels. You can always come down towards the earth, resting your head on something. If you have a cushion, again, you can let it catch your fall. You can have your forehead down on whatever you have to support your forehead, or you could always turn it to one side. And at the halfway point, I will tell you to switch sides. Notice how powerful this position is. How nourishing, how it really does speak to the child inside. You can turn your head to the other side if you were facing sideways. And slowly press yourself up out of that child's pose. So again, we're going to be coming to our backs. You have a couple of options here. So actually, I will demonstrate first. If you don't have cushions, but you have blocks, you could place the blocks like a T on your mat. If they're hard like mine, you may need a blanket over top. And what we're doing is we're setting up this little bridge where we can bring the center of our back and have our head rest back on that top one. That's actually quite nice. The other option we have is to use your cushion. And then that's going to come right in towards your pelvis. Then you can lay back on that. Now, if you have nothing at all to lay back on, that's okay too. Come on to your back. Actually, first, you'll bring those elbows nice and close in towards you. Thumbs tuck underneath the buttocks for a fish pose. So the one we're in is more of a supported fish pose. If you have nothing underneath you, you tuck those thumbs in underneath your buttocks, come down onto your elbows, and then just let that heart lift as the shoulder blades meet behind the back of the heart. So it's not entirely as relaxing, but we're trying to open the front body here. You could also bring the head back and down as you rest towards the top of the head, but only if the neck feels safe opening up in this way. So that's Matsyasana fish pose. We're doing a supported fish pose, which is a little more relaxing. Legs are outstretched, palms up to the sky. And the shoulders feel like they're dropping down towards the earth. Heart is lifting, is being lifted from behind. And now, if you don't have support underneath you, come all the way to your back. If you do have support underneath you, you're going to start to slowly snow angel your arms out. Just moving to the side a little so I have some room on one side. You're starting to slowly snow angel those arms. Just 1 degree at a time. At a certain point, especially if you're off the earth, those elbows will come off the ground, maybe even the hands. And then eventually they'll make their way above your head. You can lie there stretched for a moment. And then slowly start to bring them back around and down, especially pausing at any of those places that feel really needed. And then a little smoother this time, one more. And then stay there a moment. Bend the knees and help yourself up off your cushion. So it is time to come into almost our final resting pose. We're coming to legs up the wall. Now you can also do this with legs hanging on a couch. So coming right up into the edge of the couch and bending your knees and letting them rest on the couch. Or you can come up towards a wall. Now I'm going to be using a cushion, but first I'll demonstrate without. I bring my hips right up into the wall, and then it takes a little bit of grace and letting go. But I come down onto my back, kick the legs up and turn so that my sit bones are as close into the wall as they can possibly get. And the legs are about hip distance apart, stacked on top of the hips, just falling down towards the earth. Now with a proper bolster, you can do this with the hips a little elevated, but you have to come up onto that bolster. And again, with a little more trust, you let yourself come down. Legs come up the wall. I scooch my sit bones as close in as possible. And then I find a place here. So whether those knees are bent and draped over a chair or a couch, or if they're up the wall, if you're on a bolster or not, in any of these positions, we're flipping things a little bit upside down. And we feel that change of flow through the legs. You release through the pelvis and hips, the abdomen, the backs of the shoulders, completely supported the back of the head. Let those legs fall. Releasing, relieving any strain on that hip joint as the femur bones just nestle into their sockets. Now, you may feel so good here that there's no way you're going to move, and that's okay. If you choose to do final relaxation with legs at the wall here, please go for it. If you'd like to change positions, you can slowly come out and find your Shavasana. So you might need a blanket. And if you're on your backs, you might want cushion underneath those legs so that the knees can stay comfortably bent. And then you can come down and adjust. We can find a cozy place to rest and be, with the knees slightly bent, allows the pelvis to relax down into the earth. All the gripping can start to dissolve. Feet fall naturally. And again, those femur bones and all of those strong muscles that surround them can just settle into their place. No work needed. The hips are receptive and open. The abdomen rises and falls with the breath like a baby's. Shoulders fall back into the earth. Hands are wherever they feel used and needed. Throat is open. Ears are falling down towards the earth as the jaw parts slightly, teeth parted slightly, tip of the tongue rests right behind the top row of teeth. The palate's open. The eyes are soft. The area between the eyebrows smooth. The entire scalp is soft, not gripping. Now, ideally, from this place, you can roll over into your bedroom and go to sleep. Deep, restful sleep. How difficult was it for you to slow down? Once you feel what's happening in the body, are you wondering why it took you so long? Some of the things that we have the most resistance to, things that we want to run from, to hide from, sometimes they need just a little attention. And they can also be what brings you to a new place, another place, and sometimes even a lighter place. Stay here for as long as you can, as long as your time allows. And like I said, if you can go straight to bed, then even better. Thank you so much for joining me in this special class. I find it such a pleasure to teach these ones. Make sure you thank yourself for slowing down, restoring, nourishing. And I wish everybody a beautiful day, weekend, evening, sleep ahead. Thank you so much. Namaste.